Gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 2 of my Dacian campaign. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I mean, I sure am, because we have the opportunity here to finish our conquest of the province of Dacia, solidify it under the control of the Getae, and bring in a new era of unification to the tribal people known as the Dacians. Yet, simultaneously, we still have to take some Getae. It is really the tough nut to crack when it comes to this province. It's a walled settlement. It is pretty well equipped, and frankly, the faction that controls it is doing pretty well for itself. They captured a kink, a Panonian settlement. So they aren't mere pushovers here. They are an actual powerhouse capable of military conquests. Capable of, yet there's trouble in paradise here. You can see, I think that's like a Gallic kingdom or something like that, but regardless, they did damage against the Getae, against that particular Dacian tribe. See what's going on here. Your family's being blackmailed. Either relent and lose gravitas, or give my treasury. Well, you know what? Reputation is everything, boys. We go in. I mean, okay, so who are these Sortisi? There are people with a bunch of light spearmen. Pretty generic early game spearmen, but these medium skirmishers, they're something else. They are far more powerful. They are a people capable doing damage. These cell swords are pretty good too, albeit unarmored pretty much. But my men are more or less unarmored too. I mean, I'm seeing some pretty powerful units in the area, yet I feel confident that I can hit hard against them, but I can do damage. Man, I really wish I could get the stone footing. I'm gonna be real. But you know what? I think the most prudent thing that I can do here is just declare war against the bully.
My friend, be welcome. The spirits of this place.
Oh, we have military access. How long will it take before I can declare war? 6 turns? That's a letdown, man. That's a bit annoying. Well, you know what? I suppose we can, like, watch this war play out somewhat. Or I don't know, maybe I should just, like, I can do this, right? I could still do a little bit of management, because we do need to get rid of the mercenary, get in one of our own people here, a cheaper unit. My army is still somewhat damaged, and it is, of course, prudent for to let my army recover. I didn't realize we still had a military access pack, though. It does slow us down a little bit here. Although, in all honesty, I could just go for it. I could still just go and declare war. My reputation will suffer, but it's still early game. It'll recover pretty quickly. It's not the most insane betrayal I've ever done. It's not like they're an ally or something. It's a military access pack. It's not a significant treaty by any means. But because my army is, like, still pretty damaged, I don't think it's, like, super duper duper worth it. And you know what, like, given that these guys are at war, there'll definitely be, like, another opportunity for me to strike, for me to do something a little bit malevolent here. But then again, look at that. The garrison's not even fully formed. OEI, we uncovered them. The OEI don't tend to last very long, from, like, what I've seen. But I don't know, man. Like, it does look like these guys are kind of in a weak state. To be completely frank, yeah, I think I made the right decision there, because we didn't even go to untrustworthy. We just went to trustworthy. That's not that bad, okay? Like, my reputation did suffer so, like, horrendously that things just are terrible. Like, we're okay. We're okay. We did alright there. The only negative thing is that we're not really, like, considered likely to win that, but you know what? I think that because of that, we can just wait for the men in Zarmeza Gattuso to sally out. That would be actually pretty dope to just fight on the open field here. Let's see, is there any diplomacy I could potentially do?
Greetings.
I don't know, after a betrayal, not necessarily the most likely thing to happen, but nah, it looks like it's not gonna happen. Besides, we don't have any ports, so trade is gonna be particularly hard for us. Regardless, though, we'll besiege them as a Gattuso. My plan here, or at least my hope, is that because the enemy outnumbers us, they will sally out. They don't want to be stuck in their hovels. No, they want to roam the country as free men. So I'm hoping that people in Zarmeza Gattuso will just sally out and try their luck against me. They want a peace treaty. Well, that's not going to happen. And they do sally out. Predictable, guys. Very predictable. And we will go and handle them of a bloody vengeance. Now, even though the enemy is projected to win, they're still a garrison, right? They're still mostly a garrison. I don't rate them all that highly. I think that my infantry, particularly my falxmen, particularly my noble spears, should be able to run these guys over with just this overwhelming power. But yet the garrison did have a lot of falxmen in it. They are weaker falxmen than the ones I have, but only like slightly weaker. But I'm going to try a slightly different strategy here when I actually have my falxmen nice in center, and then I have my Sika bearers and spearmen behind them in order to offer a supportive layer of javelin fire. I'll have my noble spears on the flanks. These guys can deter cavalry along with my Actually, you know what, guys? I just want to kind of show off my army for like a brief moment here. You guys can see here. Look at these falx bearers. Aren't they absolutely dope? I mean, those weapons, they look like something out of a horror movie, man. They're like vicious. And then look at these spearmen. These guys, they are the resilient backbone of this army. These guys are the hardened professional-ish warriors who are going to raise havoc and actually have armor. Besides my general's cavalry unit, no one has armor. But, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, for some reason, the enemy are not deploying as a singular formation, which is actually really advantageous to be. Yeah, let's go ahead and just rough these guys up, because frankly, because the enemy is like deploying as two separate armies, this first one very exposed. Now the enemy cavalry could just slip away. Like the only screwed unit is this Moesian spearmen, but it looks like the enemy are going to stand and fight, which is, I mean, very, very, very advantageous to me. I do want to like not have these guys fire at will though, because if we're just basically like gonna eliminate the enemy here, just slaughter these guys that are pushed up, then I don't need a bunch of javelins flying in and creating a hazard for the rest of my men. But yeah, we'll have one of my Falx units just charge a Moesian. We'll have two of these Falx units try to handle that enemy cavalry. Some of my skirmish cab is getting caught by the general, but in retaliation, we're going to charge the enemy. And yeah, we just surrounded this Dacian cavalry with Falxmen, and they are going to start getting very quickly chopped to shreds. If you don't pull out with haste, we're going to get absolutely annihilated. Yeah, Moesian spearmen are getting cut to ribbons, although trouble in paradise here. I did micro my men very well, I can tell you that. But you know what? Some of my boys are getting caught, but if we can just get my spear nobles within range, they will absolutely obliterate this unit. And yeah, the Moesian spearmen, they go down relatively easily to my Falxes. This cavalry unit's getting chased by my Falxmen just get shattered. Yeah, okay, the Falxmen do really good as anti-cavalry instruments, and now we need to get them back as a main line. They are pretty quick to move, so hopefully we can get back into place, and we will be ready to go here. And yeah, the garrison cavalry gets slaughtered. I mean, this is just perfect. My spear nobles do excellent. 27 kills. They are hardened anti-cavalry warriors, as these are actually the first time that I've used my spear nobles in combat, and I'm content with her performance thus far. So happy about that. Because again, like these Sika bears and stuff, they're not particularly hard-hitting troops by any regard. They are very mediocre. So to be able to have something that can go in effectively and take out a high-armored instrument like cavalry is a pretty large luxury to have as the Dacians in this part of our campaign. And you're kind of just scrapping by, kind of just using whatever imperfect instruments you have to win your battles. Now, what's the enemy formation here? So they have their Falxmen at the front. This is going to be a bloodbath of just two really heavy charging units just smacking into each other. My Falxes and their Falxes. So let's bring it. Of course, the enemy is going to shower me with arrows upon impact, and that's a little worrying. My men can't exactly like handle a barrage of arrows all that effectively, but my javelins can maybe come in and do a better job than enemy arrows. I'm going to try to deploy my cavalry to the flanks as well. I mean, honestly, it looks like my Falxmen are actually getting the better of Dacian Billickmen. But only time will tell. That's going to remain constant. Dacian militia joining the fray as well. But my Sika skirmishers, they are now assembled behind my men in neat ranks, and they are throwing their javelins, or throwing their bloody instruments of carnage. And I think that it's going to very quickly tip the scales of battle in my favor. The Dacian militia, they're trying to join the fray though. But I have nobles that should just far outperform any sort of militia unit. Meanwhile, I just hit the flank here. My cavalry are going to have to defend my Falxmen amply. But honestly, I'm surprised by how well my Falxmen handled the Billickmen. I didn't think that there was that big of a difference. To be fair, I didn't really pay attention to the stats that much. Like, what possibly justifies this? I mean, yeah, my men have more attack. They have slightly more defense. Charge bonus is the same. Billickmen have no armor.
One of our units is
They have 1 armor. My men have 8 armor. My men have more attack. My men have slightly more defense. My men are better in every regard. I'm surprised that it made this much of a difference, but my Falxmen absolutely slaughtered the Billickmen. I guess that's the difference between, you know, a bunch of like actual just random farmers that just went to the field, and, you know, men that actually consistently use the Falx as an instrument of war. You know, it's kind of like the difference between a semi-professional soldier and just like an actual farmer that occasionally fights, that occasionally gets into a scrap at the local pub, you know? But yeah, we ran over that garrison with an efficiency that even surprised me. And you can see my Falxmen were the MVPs. 300 kills almost on several of these Falxmen. We just stopped slightly short of it, but one of my nobles gets a pretty significant number of kills too. And of course my cavalry, they do all right as they were just cleaning up the enemy. My Sika skirmishers, they don't get the most kills, but keep in mind that those are mostly javelin kills upon the enemy Billickmen, so they were useful kills one way or another. And I think that they also helped tip the scales in my favor. Because arrows are great, but you kind of need to shoot them consistently at a unit to do damage in Divid Et Impera. It takes a lot longer than in vanilla, I find. But javelins, they're a far quicker kill, so yeah. But yeah, there we have it, boys. Getae is now going to be very easy for us to take. We should just be able to quickly auto-resolve the win. And a Kink's actually being besieged or surrounded by these guys, by the Panonians. So it looks like the Puli are going to get very, very quickly wiped out, which is to my advantage. To my advantage, because we are at war with them. Why not have my enemy defeated by someone who, at this point, at the very least, is more or less indifferent? And we'll go loot this settlement. We kind of need the money, I'm going to be entirely honest. That'll help us actually get this. Now, I did want to get level 1 weapon. I mean, money's great, alright? Money is great. Don't get me wrong, money is great. Do want more recruitment capacity. We can just repair level 2 building. Why would I mess with this? Didn't really need the slave thing though. I don't know, boys. Hello, the narrator. You better destroy Rome. I'm very far from destroying Rome, dude. I am an insignificant tribal people at this point, living on the periphery of civilization itself. My chance of upending a power like Rome, or really any people of substance, is nil. I'm a bunch of... I lead a group of farmers of a bunch of billets and hooks. But I want to destroy Rome. Don't get me wrong. In my heart of hearts, I want the Romans dead to a man. But am I going to be able to do it? Pfft, fat chance, man. Fat freaking chance. But how are you doing? But soon. My leader can't even read, bro. He's illiterate. He sleeps with a scroll. The one Greek scroll his people have slapped their hands on under his pillow, hoping it'll make him literate, and it hasn't worked yet. You think we can destroy Rome soon? You're crazy, narrator. You're crazy. But one day, in a galaxy far, far away. But better yet, though, I think I'll probably invade Panonia, because Panonia has been at war quite a bit recently. I suspect that there'll be opportunities. Just death stack armies and march straight on Rome. I mean, actually, if I could... Wait, this is dependent in Para, though. If I march from Dacian to Rome, I'll run out of supplies. Yeah, that's a strat I could... Like, I could employ that if I was playing the original Rome, too. Kind of want this sanctuary, dude. The Puli are gone, and that's awesome. So now we're not at war with anybody. Okay, let's get the cavalry building, and then... Yeah, let's get this. Let's just highly militarize this province, and we'll focus on economic development later. Yeah, we'll go for military and public order, and we'll just patrol the region for now. I mean, these guys are owned by peace guys, who I know don't have the strongest of armies either. I mean, so far so good, honestly. So long as nobody just like runs in and declares war on me, because that would be annoying.
A flapping tongue that speaks. Your goods? Well, no. We see little gain.
Alright, so winter, I think there's really little that we can do. I always do that just to show the true barbarian dev savages. I mean, bro, You know, a campaign idea, like an unorthodox strategy, has always made me laugh. Just take like any faction that has access to the Mediterranean, right? Hear me out. Load them up on ships, and then just sail to Britain and just establish a colony. Allow your initial settlement to get taken, just overwhelmed, and then just go and just relocate to the UK. It's just funny. It's a funny idea. Kind of wanted to go do that as like a joke. Ooh, let's hire... No. Oh, yeah, hire... Oh, fuck, which one is this? I usually promote subject, but I feel like that lessens my family's influence or something. It's like... Ugh. I don't know. I usually promote, though, because it does create peace.
How can I assist? The shadows are friends.
But hey, but actually it would be pretty dope, though. And Latium is an absolutely, like, great province to hold. It's a very wealthy province. Very, very, very wealthy. Also, it is entertaining that, like, Getae has significantly lower population than all of these just, like, random villages, because I sacked it. But it'll populate. Your main goal is to destroy Rome. I mean, that is true, and in Divit et Impera in particular, once you fight enough battles against the Romans, you obtain a lot of technology and actually unlock, like, your best troops as Dacia. So that's actually how you, like, stop having to use all of these crappy light troops and start getting the heavy Falksmen. But I wouldn't say Dacia is necessarily famous for or whatever, but it's what makes the roster in Divit and Impera good. I do want to wipe these guys out, though, quite soon. Simultaneously, I think that this province will become stable relatively soon. Dacia is the best. Are you Romanian by any chance? For whatever reason, I'm very popular amongst Romanian people on Twitch. I have several viewers. Everyone in Europe is actual... You must be Romanian, bro. How did you get... Because, bro, for whatever reason, bro, like, several of my reoccurring, like, watchers, they're Romanian. It's always Romanians, bro. I think Romanians just tend to be, like, ancient history nerds or something. Which is cool. So I've been obsessed with ancient history since I was a little lad. But yeah, the moment that you said, did you know everyone in Europe is actually Dacian? I knew that you were Romanian, bro. That is such a Romanian hot take. And ooh, dude, okay, so these guys are at war with the Boii now. So they're heading towards here. They're heading towards Istros. Which means that I can actually go in and upend them from the back a little bit. Wait a minute. What type of oh, we have trade! We have trade! Let's cut that. Let's chop that agreement up. Simultaneously, I don't want to potentially be at war with several other factions, so I'm thinking, could we just make some bullshit trade agreements with the Scythians? Wait, what did we get here? Non-aggression? I mean, effectively, that does do what I want. Even though it's not idyllic, it does stop them from attacking me, so I guess not the end of the world. And we'll go attack them. Yes, it's not ideal. It's not ideal that we had a trade agreement, but that's whatever. Let's see what's going on here. But anyways, I don't quite like the state of public order in Dacia, so let's go ahead, send my wife over. She can host some games. She can go entertain the people with a grand festival. And that'll boost public order for now. And let's just go ahead, try to take a kink as quickly as I can. Simultaneously, I could begin on my second army here. I could get my second force. In Malvia, I believe that this is probably where I have consolidated the greatest population for recruitment. I believe, yeah, we're the Getae chieftains, right? So we have one family member that we could get here. I mean, why not? Why not? We aren't going to make this, like, the best army ever, though. And you know what? Now that we have this guy equipped, let's see what we can get here. Is there anything that, like, lowers cost? Nothing. Nothing yet. You know, minus banditry is pretty good, and then we'll get plus morale for offensive battles. Those are some okay-ish buffs. Not, like, amazing or whatever, but...
Come, fight for us, lads.
There we have it. We'll just recruit a bunch of kind of, like, lower-tier units. They'll help us play defensively if these Panonians, these dirty Panonians, decide to try to attack us in the meantime. And yeah, we'll have an army marching on a kink. Panonia is admittedly not the best province to hold because it's just very central in Europe. Like, you're exposed from every single angle. But I have to conquer something, and I just sense weakness, and we're on my border, so that's really my logic for attacking the Panonians. And meanwhile, I just have to kind of wait for Dacia to become a more stable place. It's going to take a while between building my temple, between researching the technology necessary to get some of my other tech going, and they actually get attacked here. Actually get attacked. On enemies' armies are somewhat damaged, but simultaneously they outnumber me by a reasonable amount. It's like, ugh. They outnumber me a bit here. They have some good troops. Like, almost none of these guys are, like, crappy levy tier. They have a lot of mercenaries, in fact. Maybe it wasn't the best fought out thing. Let's run. Let's run. Run! That worked out, dude. That worked out. Because I knew that... I didn't think that both armies had that much movement speed. I didn't think that they could go that far. And it's a lot better to fight a garrison of 939 than an army of 2,000. Weaker troops in the garrison. You know, obviously, like, if I want to take the settlement, I might as well just demolish the garrison now. So all in all, it's good. Where did you get that from, bro? You get that from ChatGPT. Why do you, like, open up the thesaurus? I mean, I'm not complaining. Obviously, I understand your language. It's just... I just wrote it. Really. Regrettably, a significant portion of the Romanian populace seems to exhibit a lamentable lack of intellectual engagement. Preoccupied they are with trivial engagement. Preoccupied they are with trivial pursuits of a more carnal nature, in stark contrast to those who cultivate a profound interest in history and its myriad complexities, undoubtedly represent the intellectual elite, embodying a passion for knowledge and a yearning for deeper understanding. Did it do your writing justice, my friend? I think I did. I think I narrated it with great zest. So what type of cardinal pursuits are you speaking of when it comes to the Romanian people? I mean, I'm from Vancouver, Canada, so our cardinal pursuits mostly involve a precarious amount of toxic drugs and marijuana, basically. That's essentially the Vancouver cardinal pursuits right there. But dement the mind, but turn our people into a bunch of slobbering fools, devoid of a higher purpose. Just as the Romanian people fell as well, so too do the Vancouverites suffer in what is a suffering of the soul. But I don't know, man. I think that in general, like, the study of the ancient world, it is truly something that people invoke on when their lives are good. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the ancient world, it just has an energy that is so interesting. A purity to it, yet simultaneously a complexity to it that just pulls a person in if they're like a thinking person. But simultaneously, it's something that people do when life is good, when life is easy. I mean, I got into it when I was a kid, when I had nothing to think about, no serious problems, you know what I mean? But now with the world becoming more complex, more challenging, I don't think as many people give a fuck, really. It's hard to. It's hard to. And see if the garrison kind of coming here. I'll send some of my Sika men, my Getae Sika bearers towards them. This cavalry we've surrounded thoroughly, and we have our spear nobles fighting as well. The Falksmen kind of took center and just charged in maniacally, as Falksmen do. But you are a narrator, bro. That's hilarious. I love his persona that you cranked out here on Twitch. It's actually dope, man. It is like such a pleasant troll, but simultaneously fun to interact with, bro. I love it. Yeah, it seems that everywhere across the battlefield we're besting these Sikori. We're besting these Sikori. My Getae nobles, I kind of left them on an island here. So they're taking some damage, but because they are hardy nobles with good armor, they're withstanding the enemy onslaught somewhat. Yeah, my Falksmen are getting a little bit beat up though, but we're about to swing this flank around and hopefully best them. Let's just run into Sika bearers here after throwing in some javelins. Fuck, wait, my nobles are just getting pounded by enemy missiles. Oh god. Okay, I really shouldn't have just ran my nobles in like that. That was idiotic of me. Well, let's bring my cavalry. Bring my cavalry in. My nobles on this flank. They should be able to handle those residual spearmen. Meanwhile, we can go ahead and run these Getae militia in. They should be able to hold their own against the garrison. The garrison doesn't offer much substantive resistance. They're just kind of there. I'll run in some skirmish cavalry to try to wipe out those already weakened skirmish units, and I'm eyeing up my nobles on this flank. They should come back to the battlefield unless the enemy devotes some cavalry to their pursuit. This Getae Falksman got ripped to shreds by overwhelming odds. It makes sense. It isn't ideal, but it makes sense. Here we can surround this sellsword unit. Now these mercenaries are actually very good, so I do expect them to actually put up a good fight, but at the end of the day, when surrounded by men with Falxes, you do tend to die pretty quickly, so they'll put up a good fight, but like they won't really, like, you know, they won't last.
Men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display.
Yeah. At least in Canada. Canada does present the semblance of financial stability. Not even the semblance, man. Like, it's a relatively stable place when you compare it with the rest of the world. It's just, as elsewhere, considerably less stable than it once was. That's the problem, right? People assess their lives as a comparison of how it was in the past, right? You don't, like who the hell like views their life as some sort of like set of consistent principles? Like, no, it's a constant comparison to what you know, right? That's the way that people judge things. So that's why a lot of Canadians are rather unhappy right now with our current standard of living. Yet when you compare it with elsewhere, it's fine. I mean, the civility aspect, yeah, that's kind of a trademark, of course. Unsympathetic to the plight of those who lack stable housing and are burdened with exorbitant rental costs, my apathy towards their circumstances is unequivocal. I mean, makes sense.
Dacian!
I mean, look, at the end of the day, when you live in a place, like, you have to make do with what you do. Like, I think particularly when you come from, like, a commie block background. Like, my parents, they immigrated from Soviet-era Ukraine, right? So it's like, they struggled to identify a stable source of, like, chicken, you know? Like, a place where you can buy chicken consistently. But, you know, eventually they found a store where they could find chicken relatively consistently if they show up early in the day. So you make do, and it's a similar thing with housing, right? At the end of the day, if you chase it with vigor, you'll find yourself a decent situation. It's not impossible. Same thing with job hunting, really. It's at the end of the day, if you apply yourself reasonably well, then you'll survive. I mean, a lot of the immigrants I know who have obviously like a harder working mentality than the majority of natural-born Canadians. Like, they have like 4 jobs. Like, they found 4 jobs, even with their poor English. I mean, I know a lot of people that are born here who they can't find one job. And they complain constantly, like, I've been unemployed for a year. There's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. It's a choice. It's a choice. Their laments. And I think a lot of life is like that. You can embrace a defeatist attitude and, you know, you can kind of succumb to your own degenerative qualities as a human being, or you can try to, like, push forward. You can try to make do with what you have and maximize your potential.
For the tribe! We take this settlement! For the tribe!
Yeah, lamenting is, in of itself, kind of like a pleasurable state. It's weird how human beings can be like that, you know? Like in Romeo and Juliet, when you have, like, Romeo, he gets... I obviously like using literature as a representation, like a perfect representation of the human experience isn't really, like, a great way to make a point, make, like, a philosophical point, but... You know, there's this part in Romeo and Juliet when he's gone, like, exiled because, you know, he kills, like, Juliet's cousin in a duel, right? And he's, like, lamenting on how his life sucks, right? And it's clear that he's enjoying it. And I think a lot of people are caught up like that. Like, when I was in my earlier 20s, I was caught up like that. I was in a state of complete and utter decline spiritually. And I'm not even a religious person. I just mean simply, like, I was not capable. Not capable of getting myself to do very much at all. Because I was constantly pitying myself. And it is something that people get caught up in. To extricate myself from my native land, the prospect of dedicating 6 years to a university education only to earn a meager 700 euros per month is far from appealing. Furthermore, the idea of persevering for an arduous 11 to 12 years to attain a salary of nearly 1,300 euros is equally unappealing. Well, okay, so, but what would be, like, the relative... cost of living, or rather quality of life you can achieve for that money? Like, does 700 euros a month give you a comfortable life in a city like Bucharest? Tell me about this. Like, for the salaries you mentioned, like, what type of life could you live in Romania? What type of house would you have? What type of food would you eat? Would you be able to sustain a family? A girlfriend? How would your life look like at these levels? I mean, as for the immigration point that you made, good luck. Seriously. Very good luck. I mean, my family got out of the stagnant crap hole that is Eastern Europe, and it's definitely tough to adjust to a new place, but the long-term commitment is most definitely worth it. For you and your descendants, you guys, you know, you leave them a gift, really. The river drainage, I mean, this is like my favorite building when it comes to, like, farm and what is it? Farm and public order. I don't know. There really isn't anything I can recruit here besides Alpine levies, who are not terrible actually. 11 armor. Oh, these guys are actually good, man. These guys are better than a lot of my units. They just don't have ammunition. Really? Is Bucharest a shithole? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, admittedly. Big cities have big problems. When you bring so many people together in theory, it's supposed to create like this awesomeness of human cooperation, but it often get a lot more than you bargained for. Yeah, I'm not like a small town type of guy, don't get me wrong, but my preference is in mid-sized towns. I think you kind of get the best of both worlds. Without the squalor of the big city. Without the egregious price gouging. The inconvenience, the traffic. All the negatives. But also, where would you go? Like, where would be like your dream country? Like, if you can immigrate anywhere. Would it be somewhere in the Commonwealth, America, somewhere in the EU? I mean, I know that, like, the entirety of Eastern Europe is being drained into, like, the Nordic and German and, like, Central European economies, right? It's very common to go to, like, Germany or something in pursuit of a better life, isn't it? Because I don't know a ton about European life, but I do have some relatives that moved to Germany in the 90s, and they seem to be doing very well. I just assume that it's a very popular move for a lot of Eastern Europeans. So why not? Who do I get here? Like, I don't want to drain my warrior population either, because these guys are going to be very useful for my future endeavors in this campaign. I think I'll just patrol the region. I can always recruit more because I own the entirety of Dacia, right? Can always get more warriors and stuff. Nerds such as myself often find that our romantic connections are predominantly nurtured in the digital realm rather than the tangible world. We cultivate relationships with partners who exist in cyberspace as opposed to engaging in traditional courtship in real life. It's like Vancouver, but poor and more shitty with disgusting animals the world's never seen. Believe me, Vancouver has those animals that you speak of in abundance, man. In abundance. Whenever I drop in Vancouver, I need to, like, take caution whenever making any maneuver, because I'm always, like, afraid that some, like, homeless guy on 20 drugs is gonna run onto the street and just throw himself under my car. You mean actual animals, man. Ah! Okay, yeah, that's something that we don't witness a whole lot in Canada. But dude, why are the animals there, though? Are they just, like, do they just live there, or is it, like, farmers bringing them to market? Yeah, that is like such a foreign experience for me, man. That is such a foreign experience for me. Also, yeah, it looks like the spear thing is like, this is my only military temple. And also, I can't get new recruits out of Panonia right now, so let's go ahead, get this. What I can do is recruit more men here. Oh, the Antigonians are on my radar now. Okay, luckily they haven't conquered any of Thrace, because I am afraid of the Antigonids, man. Like, the Greeks are going to come up with such a better army than early game Dacia. They could just wreck me. I don't know, like, I don't have a ton of income, so I can't really, like, get a ton of elite men here. You know, let's get 2 Falxmen just to kind of make this army somewhat capable. And I don't know, a couple of these Getae spearmen just to kind of flesh out the ranks. When I'm...
Warriors all ready for orders.
No, this army is like struggling from a lack of resources. No, not just farmers or stray casted dogs. Oh, okay. You asked me what country I would go to? Yeah, I'm curious. What does a young Romanian man dream of doing to make your life better?
Warriors all.
So I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna stream for like another 15 minutes. Let me cook. Yeah, cook it up. I'm gonna stream for another 15 minutes, and I need to go and get on the daily grind. But yeah, I think that I'm just gonna pound this army to oblivion. Young my ass. I'm almost 24. Hey man, I'm 24. I still consider myself young. 24 years old. Everyone that uses Twitch is young to some extent. It's not like real boomers on Twitch. 24 is young, man. Believe me. I met 40-year-olds. When you tell them that you're 24, they're like, oh, you still have your entire life ahead of you. Because if you're at an age when you can still make mistakes with relatively no consequences, you're young. Believe me, you're freaking young. If you can still make mistakes without like your children and your dependents suffering the consequences along with you, you're still a young man. So I think that's like what the definition of young should be. I mean, sure, if you're still living like that when you're like 50, you're old. There's no way around it, but philosophically, that's what I see as youth, personally. A cook, my dude. Cook up a nice narrative for me. And also, your English obviously very good. Could do like international business as like a field of study or something. Utilize that elsewhere. Or perhaps you can immigrate as an English teacher elsewhere. Could be quite good. You can do a diploma in teaching English online, quite easy. Should the opportunity arise, I would certainly gravitate towards these locations that offer superior remuneration for my professional endeavors. Remaining in my current position yields a meager salary, whereas relocating to Switzerland or Canada presents a compelling prospect of achieving financial stability for a lifetime. Moreover, such an advantageous circumstance would undoubtedly enhance my desirability in the social sphere, attracting considerable attention from potential romantic partners. Okay, so you're moving for the hose. The hose got you down. I mean, I don't know if Switzerland has good hoes, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't met many Swiss babes, but I just don't imagine, bro. I just don't imagine. If you really want the hoes, bro, work for a international company in Thailand. Earn like a nice, dude. Even like 1,000, dude. If you're making 1,000 euros in Thailand, then you're like a god, bro. You're like a god. You're not even human. You've ascended up the pantheon. And then the ladies come swelling in like a disturbed tide. They'll be searching for you just as you search for a good deal at the flea market. I mean, would you not? Oh, come on, absolutely. I'm a man. Of course I would. I'm happy to report that I've started dating a lady who... Very nice. They're nice to talk to. I have a good feeling about it. I mean, without doubt, though, like, I don't say this with any ire or anything like that, but women, they do tend to be quite prudent in mind. Of course, when they're dating someone, it's not a purely romantic thing, right? I mean, you have to consider like what a life of that individual would look like, and income is the sustenance of life itself. Yeah, you need to be making good money if you want to have a good girlfriend. That's just the nature of the world. It's the way it works. Since antiquity, since forever, really. The provision of stability is something that every lady looks for. Unless the lady is like some high-powered professional, and then she might look for a trophy herself. I've seen some situations that are like that. Like a 50-year-old girl with like a 25-year-old bodybuilder. It's epic, bro. Honestly, dude, when the dude is a trophy is the funniest shit to me. It's so good. It's amazing. Honestly, power to them. Defying expectations for a better tomorrow. Yeah, enemy cavalry's charging again. They actually might do okay against my Sika bearers, but we'll try to reinforce them by Getae spearmen, as garbage as they are. Let's start looping my falxmen around. They're quite quick on the battlefield, so I think I'll do pretty well. Again, I'm going to leave my nobles somewhat stranded in their deployment, but I'll run them in. And yeah, because all of my Sika skirmishers come with a ton of javelins. Oh, crap, these riders, they got a little caught up, but you know what? My general can, for a time at least, engage this unit. And oh, you know what? Cavalry does so badly against my falxmen in prolonged melee that it's okay. And I'll run in the rest of my cavalry here to make a mess of the enemy. And oh, okay, overextended these guys. But you know what?
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Actually, you know what? We need to reinforce here because this particular Sika skirmisher, we're not going to last very long. We just got charged and they're not good units, so I know what the inevitable outcome of that is. Let's go ahead and start running my falxmen into combat. They're going to have to be the heavy hitting backbone of a Dacian army here. Okay. I'm pausing because I heard the salary thing. That salary thing that you read, bullshit, man. Bullshit. Our salaries are, like, our statistically high salaries are maintained by a small class of incredibly high earners, okay? I'm not saying this because of, like, some sort of edgy university Marxist world, you know. It's simply the truth of it, okay? The average person in Canada doesn't make $299. The average person in Canada makes a good $50,000 a year. So just from my lived experience, and I'm an educated man. I don't associate with a ton of people who don't have like a bachelor's degree. And believe me, like that's what you make, man. I mean, you could attain an 80K salary within like 3 to 4 years of working with a bachelor's degree of any type. It's very attainable if you stay focused and you maintain this goal. It is very, very, very possible, okay? Like, do not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. You can make it happen. You can make it happen. The whole 300K thing, though, that only happens through connections, blind luck, or genius. It's most definitely not something that happens with any degree of consistency. But yeah, 80 is pretty normal in, like, you know, an office-style job. Once you get, like, a good one, that is. Not even, like, the average office job pays like that, but you kind of, like, jump between jobs, you know? You chase the higher salary, you make the right moves, then you'll make that much. You'll make that much, and you'll have a nice life. Then you can just fuck off back here and build some firms here. Yeah, exactly. Especially with the way that jobs are structured now, because let me tell you, like, something that did change because of COVID was the availability of remote work. Like, once you're in a company and you've kind of like proven your work to be somewhat indispensable, you can pressure your boss to allow you to work remotely. You could just be like, hey, I really need to just be able to work online. I promise everything will be the same as before. If they say yes, then you can go back to Romania, making your good like 80k Canadian salary, working the exact same job, and you'll live like a freaking god in a city like Cluj-Napoca or whatever. You'll be making 80k Canadian.
Is turning in our favor.
But you'll have like a mortgage of like 80k for like a nice European apartment. And it'll just be so good. It'll just be so freaking good. Okay, so battalion model. You have 4 houses. What? How do you have 4 houses yet? What do you mean? Wait, why would you need to build yourself up financially then? I don't understand. When I see a guy with 4 houses, I see a person that's earning income. What's the motive then? I'm just curious. If you have 4 houses in this country, it means that you are like more or less part of an aristocracy, man. You've ascended. That's sustaining them. I see. Okay. No, I don't know, because when you first move to Canada, I'm telling you, you're not going to be saving any money. You're going to be spending every single penny you have on your cost of living. I don't know whether you're going to even be able to sustain those mortgages, because 4 houses sounds like a lot. Like, there's a guy that I work with, and he, like, his, like, monthly rent is, like, 3K. Which is, like, pretty normal for, like, a house. But he's got, like, a family, right?
Your next command.
So, like, he works, like, 4 jobs. And all the money that he makes from those jobs just goes into rent, food, you know, like, the type of basic living expenses that you need to, like, be a human still, right? So, I mean... yeah, I don't know. You might struggle with those type of expenses right out the gate, still in Romania. Why the fuck would he work 4 jobs? Because he has to pay 3K Canadian in just rent, let alone feeding his family, clothing his family. I don't want to bother working. Bro, okay, dude, when people come to this country initially, they are slaves, more or less. Perhaps not in, like, social status, but in quality of life and what they have to do. If I work, I get 7 hours a day. I mean, that's obviously a possibility. I'm just saying, if you need, like, a lot of money, you have big expenses, then you gotta. Like, his condition is not usual. It's like that because he's got a big family. That's the thing, right? Okay, I want to get this Hall of the Ancestors. That was, like, my plan. Or maybe the Dava Stronghold. Maybe that's what I need. Well, this gives, like, cultural influence. Plus unit replenishment as well. I mean, this one is better. If a Davos Stronghold, it is more expensive to maintain, but... yeah, let's get the Dacian Davos. That sounds useful. We'll get the upgrades that we worked so hard to attain. We lost a Falxman in the last bout, so we can recruit 1 more. Ooh, okay. Looks like the Antigonids have moved into Thrace.
Well met, friend.
Not a great development. I don't want such a militaristically advanced people right on my doorstep. His wife doesn't work. No, she doesn't work. Not doing any of that BS 12 hours. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to do the bullshit 12 hours. It's just something that a person ends up having to do to survive. That's all it is. His wife doesn't work yet. What's the point of how? You can't get rid of him, bro. I'm sure he loves him. Although I'm sure they're probably his primary source of stress right now. Barely sees his family. What's the point of even having them? Yeah, I know. You'd be able to abuse the crap out of the free money laws from there. But free money laws are not particularly accessible to people without citizenship. That's the thing. Once you like assimilate into the society here and fully finish the immigration, which takes like 4 or 5 years, then you can abuse it. So long as you can get the correct notes from psychiatrists and doctors and all that. But when you're just new to the country, you can't really abuse it all that easily. Like the Canadian immigration system, it's based around milking immigrants. It's not based around having them, you know, abuse our resources at will. And despite what certain media outlets profess, that is ultimately the way that it does work, alright? Like, it's not easy to get a free ride here if you're a newcomer. Is Mary a wonderful lady for... I mean... That would work, actually. That would work. Would work. But you're gonna have to lay the charms on one of our beautiful Canadian broads, my friend. I mean, sure, you could probably, like, seduce her with poetry. I feel like that would probably be your play. You'd be like, I wrote this poem for you. And you're just gonna, like, send that poem to every single chick until you find one that's willing to accept. But it actually was for her. You find the one hopeless romantic soul, and then boom, you're in. I could see it now. I could see it now. I'm sure that probably was like exactly your plan. Perhaps it even spoiled it. Hello, can you help me out? I'm gonna give you 20k if you marry to get me citizenship. Damn. Really? Really? I expected a more elaborate plan out of you, honestly. Honestly, it's somewhat of a disappointment, dude. Somewhat of a disappointment. Anyway. My hour of streaming is up. I need to go move on to do other things. But you know what? I conquered Zarmezegatusa, took the great Dacian stronghold. The kink is also mine. And we're going to make progress against the Panonians. Kick those damn Celts out. So, we're doing well so far in this campaign. Pretty fun. Money does buy anything. That is true. Everything does have a price. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks, narrator, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully see you around in the future. It's a very entertaining chatter. Bye for